This is Special Report.
Black holes are one of the strangest things in existence.
Neil Armstrong may have seen extraterrestrials on the moon.
When he spies a discernible shape.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
Welcome to another Saturday edition of Full Spectrum Universe. I am your Saturday Night Savage, the ultimate outsider. My name is Rob Yox. We have an amazing show planned for you this evening. We are going to be talking about UFO or UAP, whatever you want to call it, disclosure among the mainstream. We're going to be debunking a lot of what they talk about. We're going to be discussing it in full length and detail. But before we do that, I just want to say that we have so many great things planned over the next few months. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a little bit of what we've got going on so far. So first and foremost, on June 20th to June 21st, we have the Seed event. We will be putting the tickets are all free for this event. We'll be putting a link to get your tickets in the comments throughout this program. Also, after that, we have the July 11th, 1 year anniversary, Full Spectrum Universe. We have an amazing lineup set up for you. Please, please, please come and join us. We're also going to be putting up, not in this broadcast, but later in the week, where you can go and sign up for your tickets. These are both free events. It will be live on YouTube and Facebook, but we ask that you please get a ticket and secure your spot. As of right now, we have 500 seats available. We can open that up to more if we need it, but we're just trying to get everybody together and do the right thing. So with that being said, let me first introduce my guests this evening. They are not really guests. They are co-hosts. They are my great friends. I work with them side by side on so many different things and so many different avenues. We have, first and foremost, Omar from Watchers Talk. He is one of my confidants. We have worked on all of these things together. How are you, brother? Let me bring in Clarence, and then we'll meet everybody in case you don't know who they are. Second, these two gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, are the gentlemen that got me into doing this type of stuff, this podcasting, exploring details. And this is the godfather of podcasting. His name is Clarence Mitchell, host of Closer Encounters. Gentlemen. So honored to have you guys here. It's always a privilege. You guys are my best friends in this whole world right now. So I just want to tell everybody about yourselves, and I will be sharing this thing out while you guys do that. We'll start with Omar. Omar, give a little bit of your background and your story a little bit, and then get into what you're doing now.
Sure, not a problem, Rob the Savage. We'll make this happen. Thank you very much, first of all, for having me on the RU Media Network on Full Spectrum Universe. Really appreciate it. My name is Omar, and I am the host of a webcast called Watchers Talk, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I am going on to my seventh year on June the 20th. So we got 6 years down and going into our seventh year. And for us to celebrate that day, for this milestone, we've organized, Rob, yourself and myself, we've organized an event called Seed, which is Show Empathy Every Day. And we're going to be focusing this year on this annual event on plant medicine and also animal communication. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been awoke for a long time, and it's just only recently, in probably like the last 7-8 years, that I've begun to really share my research and the things that I've been looking into and the things that I thought about and things like that that really interest me. So I am in the process of waking up myself, but I do host all these events and put them together more so out of the interest that I want to learn I want to learn about plant medicine. I want to learn how to speak to animals. I'm interested in UFOs and megaliths and ancient history and forgotten history and lost history and space and serial killers and kind of what have you, right? But Watchers Talk isn't really focused on serial killers, but that's really what I enjoy doing. So a lot of my events and shows that I do is mostly based on my interests that I want to learn about. And then I come back and I watch my videos and I take notes and then I go and do research and then I come back and and I say, oh, that's pretty new, so let me go and find somebody else who talks about this stuff and let me see what else I can find. So that's kind of pretty much what I do. You can find me at aprojectionofyou.com or on YouTube as well under the name Watchers Talk. Clarence, you're up, buddy.
That's right. Get him, Clarence.
Well, thank you, everybody. Rob, it's always a pleasure to be on your show with you. I appreciate it much. Omar, my friends, good to see you again, as always. My brother from another mother. As you all may or may not know me, I'm Clarence Mitchell from Closer Encounters. And we're coming to you live from somewhere in Minnesota. Yeah, we've been doing this for I don't know how many years now, a very long time. Rob calls me the Godfather. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
You're damn right you are. I mean, if they knew the story, which we'll get to in a second, of how we actually got to this point, it's almost like I stalked Clarence for like a month and a half, trying to get his attention and call into his show. And then finally, when I got on to his show, it all went downhill from there. But go ahead.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But no, you can find me on YouTube under Closer Encounters. And I don't know. I still cannot get on my Facebook pages. I don't know what the problem is there. I think they're just keeping me out, period. They're not helping me one bit trying to get back in those pages. But I do have a page on, it's Closer Encounters Radio on Facebook if you can get on it. But crazy.
Yeah,
I think it's because we're all a little bit suspect to the Facebook gods that be. You know what I mean? We talk things that they probably don't like too much, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say Facebook is probably saying good riddance. This guy started this all, so thankfully he's gone because Clarence was doing this like 4 years before I was, and then I started doing it, and then a bunch of other people started doing it. So when we say the Godfather, the God Santa, whatever you want to be, like they're probably Facebook is like good riddance. We're not bringing this guy back because I don't know who else he's going to influence.
But think about that. Think about the cascade effect.
Yeah,
that you had, Clarence, and how important that was to so many people that do this now. It is ultimately like just bar none one of the brightest things to come out of these last few years for me. I'm not saying for everybody, but for me, all these people we've gotten to meet, all the different people that we've got to interact with. I mean, essentially, if you didn't do what you did, we wouldn't be here doing what we do now.
Yeah, I don't think I would have been motivated to do, to do this. I came across Clarence's show, years and years and years ago, and I was looking and I was watching him. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. So I sent him a friend's request. We became friends, and then I watched, and then finally I was like, I want to do this too. And then I hooked up with my buddy Sherry Putnam, and then together we started Watchers Talk, and then here we are. And then I reached out to Clarence, and I was like, bro, we got to do some shows together. Like, you're just sick, man. So we did shows, and then we started, hosting events together. Clarence and I have done how many, Clarence? Probably.
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah, probably about a dozen events, and probably like 40 or 50 shows together. Yeah, we've done a lot together, and Rob's catching up to that too. Now we've done several events with Rob, and we've probably done probably about 20, 25 shows with Rob. And, and not to mention we did that Forgery Unmasked, which had like 30 speakers, and we did the December event that had what was it, like another 15, 16 people. So we've done quite a lot. in just a very short time. So good stuff, man. Yeah,
and there's
kudos.
still
what's really
so much more to come too. You have got everybody. These people, like people out there, I know you want to hear this, but you have no idea what's in the works right now for everybody. And a lot of the events we
Yeah.
do are free, so it's just us getting the information out to the people, and then you disseminate what you like, what you don't like, what you want to take with you, what you want to research. There's so much on the horizon. It's crazy. Of course, we do a few paid events to try and, compensate for the amount of money we put into the platform and getting it all started. But I'm telling you, there are such fantastic things coming for everybody within the close future, not even the far future.
That's
Right.
where the donations come in really handy, right? Especially when donations are going directly to PayPal instead of Super Chat in YouTube, because they end up keeping some of that revenue. But a lot of the donations that come in really do help the fact of getting this information out there. It pays for our websites, it pays for our studios. But not only that, sometimes we come across speakers who are such high caliber speakers that they normally don't do things for free, so they ask for a little bit of money. Right, so if we have a few $100 sitting in PayPal, then we say, okay, well, this is how much money we have in PayPal, so we'll give you that if you come and share your knowledge with us and do a presentation. So a lot of money goes into things like that, right? It doesn't go into paying for rent or buying groceries or cigarettes or weed or anything like that.
We put it all back.
Yeah. We have a huge announcement coming up for you guys, probably within the next week. Not about the seed, it's something actually, much bigger than that. But I don't want to let the secret out. Just drop tidbits of hints here. But just a massive announcement that we're going to be making in about a week's time. So probably the three of us will be back, right here, and then drop the news on you guys. And I guarantee you guys are going to love it.
Oh yeah. So any final words, Clarence, before we get into tonight's topic?
No, let's get into it, man. We got a lot of stuff to go over tonight.
So as everybody knows, right, there is this, I believe we're right at the end of this 120 days of disclosure 180, apologize, via the government itself, right? So everybody's waiting with white knuckles, hanging onto a rail, seeing what these people are going to give us, what we really think it is. And tonight I brought this amazing, the big three together is what we call ourselves, to discuss just that. All right. And what we fully believe is going on, what's the agenda behind all of this, and what we expect to happen, but also what we would like to see happen, which we probably won't get, but we're going to talk about that too. We're going to not only give you the facts, we're going to pontificate a little bit and put ourselves out there. And so first I want to get
word.
Pontificate.
Yeah, I like that word. That's
I've been hitting the
fantastic.
thesaurus. This is getting my my radio chops up. Like,
Almost
whoa,
something we're supposed to do every day, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Omar, I'm going to start with you again, and I want you to give to the people what you believe is going to happen right now with this specific disclosure event.
Okay, so when you were asking me that, I had just suddenly all these thoughts coming through my head, and 99% of them were curse words. So to save the integrity of this show, I'm not going to use any foul language. But I think what's going to happen is that they're going to give us a diaper full of you know what, and that's pretty much it. Let's not get into the double think process, right? I call that the double think syndrome, where you accept one thing from an individual or an organization and then turn around and say that they lie, but then accept what they're saying. Like kind of like what happened back in 2001. Kind of the same thing is happening now. So for me, what I feel is that we're not going to get anything, and already they've been dropping, that fact on us right now. Yesterday, New York Times broke a huge story. I'll let Clarence get into that. Last week, the so-called Pentagon released some UFO footages, which it actually turns out that it wasn't the Pentagon that released those footages. It was the pilots who leaked the footages, and then the Pentagon had to stand by it. And then, and then after that, I did a little bit of research and went and found this guy named Thunderfoot. And Thunderfoot, what he does is he uses infrared images and infrared videos of fighter jets and planes and such to see how they work and how they operate and what they kind of look like. So this guy is brilliant. He put 2 and 2 together, and the UFO images that we're seeing coming from the pilots or the Pentagon, and then the footage that this guy has on his channel, when you put them side by side, they're identical. So for me, I don't know what to believe now, because on one hand, these people are telling us they're UFOs, but on the other hand, there's this very solid evidence that's showing us that no, it's not a UFO. These guys are chasing their own jets, and they're chasing birds and things like that. And then, of course, the big story that New York Times broke yesterday. But like I said, I'll let Clarence hop onto that one, because he's probably read it a few more times than I did.
Go ahead, Clarence. Tell us. You got the same question, but tell us what you think is, what's going to happen, or what you think is happening with this disclosure.
Well, I think it's all a big farce. Matter of fact, I know it's a big farce, and I can show you a bunch of stuff here that has been taking place over this weekend. Now, we just did a show with Omar on Watchers Talk 2 nights ago, and and we broke the story about the 180-day deal, and we talked about disclosure and stuff like that. And since that night, as of yesterday, the New York Times broke a report on this 180-day ordeal, and basically what they're saying is, now this is leaked from, of course, how New York Times is, they leak everything to everybody about everything. I don't know how they do it.
Nothing's safe at New York Times, baby. Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're jumping ahead of the gun, so to speak, and they're giving us the news about what this report is supposed to be saying. And basically what it's saying right now is that the U.S. finds no evidence of alien technology in any of these flying objects, but they cannot rule it out either. So what is that telling us?
It's a double-edged sword, and they're telling us it's there, but we don't know. That doesn't make any sense. What do you think they're trying to say with that?
They're leaving a cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So my next question would be, why? Why would they do that?
Well, here's the thing about this. Now, I got all these YouTube videos. I've been, watching them all day today. Ever since yesterday afternoon when this broke, and every news source, whether it be Fox News or Today News or CNN, MSNBC, all of them have all now come out again just in this short 24-hour, 48-hour period, and has broke this story for the second time. And I'm getting this, Lou is on every program. Oh my God, I don't know how the guy sleeps. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
He is crazy,
peddling propaganda like nobody's business.
Like nobody's business.
This man is not on the inside of anything, and everybody's taking his word for it. And I get it. Yeah. Some people like his work, and I understand that. But this man has no idea. Nope. He is out there to be put for the public. So you could say, "Oh, but Lou's saying that." But Lou doesn't know his ass from his elbow when it comes to any of this stuff. So go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it makes me aggravated.
I wanted to play you a clip that he just did with Tucker Carlson. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is today. This is like 16 hours ago. Okay. That this went on. So,
and also before you toss it onto the screen, Rob, I also want to point out that we are back to the old blame game here, and the old suspect is back up on the board. Good old Russia, right? Let's blame Russia, and now we have a new compadre to blame, and that's China. So pretty much what the media was saying yesterday was that 80 to 90, actually it was 90%, 80 to 90% of the UFOs that they've been chasing or swarmed their aircraft carriers and such are Russian and Chinese crafts, and the other 10% they're not quite sure about, but they don't have a extraterrestrial link to those 10% of the sightings, which I find laughable. because I'm tied in pretty good with Portal to Ascension, and we just did a massive UFO conference, and there's a lot of experiencers coming on there, a lot of great researchers coming on there, telling us that we are in contact with ET. In fact, we're in contact with several different races of ET, and our governments are working with them, and some of these ETs factions are in fact working with the people of the Earth, and also they have a lot of hybrid. They've had a hybrid program going here on Earth for the last several thousand years, and a lot of that hybrid program is now coming to bear fruit, and they're working with those individuals that are clairvoyant, or they're have some sort of a gift like that, or an ability to where they can help elevate the human consciousness and help us to understand this UFO phenomenon that's going on. So when the government is telling us that it's 80% Russian and Chinese, I don't buy that whatsoever, because it really contradicts the information that we got coming in from guys like Alan Steinfeld that just released a book called Making Contact. Why would he do that? And then within that book, Nick Pope, did a chapter in that book, and everybody knows Nick Pope. And several other people contributed in that book. But he wasn't the only speaker. There was many other speakers who were pretty much giving that same information. So, back to the old suspect. If we can't explain it, we'll just blame the Russians.
Well, that's just it. It's a funny thing how they keep doing that. If it's not, if they can't explain something, it's got to be, good old Russia, good old China. It's got to be some other nation. And
I don't know about good old China, but
you know what I'm saying. But like that, they're their
Yeah.
go-tos, like you said, and it's really, it's phenomenal how they perpetrate these people. And yes, I get it. Some people see these people as enemies of the state for us, and they've really done a lot of great, crazy things. But a lot of what we see that is being blamed on these people, and I'm not just saying within this type of UFO type of thing or anything like that. It's usually us not giving the attention that is needed to a situation, and then all of a sudden it's our adversaries. It's so easy to put the blame out there on all these different people, and to me that just shows a lack of readiness for everything, like with the oil and all the rest of it. Oh, it had to be them. No, it was infrastructure, and I get it. There's a lot of things that could be said, but
you know how that happened?
Well,
sorry to interrupt you, buddy, but
go ahead.
How that happened and how it came to be where we are today? It's the fault of the people. People acquiesced, and they supported the government with all these terms like conspiracy and things like that, and these people, now the government thinks that the general public has the memory of a goldfish, and that they're not going to remember the lies that they told us last week, last month, last year, last decade, last century, and that whatever that they're going to put out today, people are just going to buy it. They're going to acquiesce and they're going to buy it. People haven't had the spine to stand up and say, no, you've been lying to us. We want disclosure. And then now these guys come out and give us this little Johnny line that they gave us with Russia and China.
No, it's so true. It's so true, and it's awful. You know what I mean?
We really are to blame. Yeah,
we definitely are.
Yeah, we are to blame, because if we hadn't played their game to begin with, like our parents, for instance, back in the 60s and 50s, when this stuff really started, had they not acquiesced to the government and believe their lies, we wouldn't be in the position that we are today, because the government would be they would have a whole different perception on the UFO, and and then they're calling this a UAP. The reason why they're calling it a UAP is because there's a stigma that's attached with UFOs now. So they're like, oh well, we can't really call them the UFOs, because then they'll say the government is involved in conspiracy theories. So now they're trying to give it a different label, and so that they can lie to us more, essentially, and then come back and say, oh, that wasn't a phenomena. It was just light reflecting off the ocean, and that's it.
Well, that's exactly right. And the other side of that is, now they're saying, but look, we gave you this, see, we're being upfront with you and we're being honest. So now they think that it's going to be indicative of every decision that they've made up to this point. And it shows the enormous amount of lying that has gone on and the corruption that has gone on. And I know this show isn't about government, but it's a telltale sign for them to try and get on the good side of the American people. And it's not even what they say it is right now. So,
They're chasing seagulls, bro.
That's right. That's right. That's
And the
right.
people are buying it, right? So
That's
what can we say? Something beyond that, like they're chasing seagulls with billion-dollar fighter jets, and giving us this this conversation that they're having and within the cockpit, right? So it makes me very suspicious. But the sad part is that people are still believing that, right? Knowing that we've given them the evidence that, look, they're chasing birds, but yet they're still they still believe the government. So I don't know what else to say, man. It's just a really sad state of affairs for us.
Right. And one of the things that you pointed out that I thought was so important is, why is it every time we see one of these videos, it's in infrared? It's never just a plain video. It's either night vision or infrared. Those are the only two you get it in. You don't get regular video, because they're perpetrating this gigantic lie.
Yeah, well, you can thank Jeremy Corbell for the last ones, and the TTSA for the ones before that,
Right.
It's just crazy,
And then you got pilots going up who've saying that they've been seeing UFOs every single day for the last 300 days, or the last 3 years, and they're taking pictures of each other through the cockpits, but yet they're not taking pictures of these UFOs that they've been seeing and chasing for the last however long. So I find that to be a bit suspicious as well. Gotta remember, guys, our president Donald Trump asked for this disclosure within 180 days, and we know that within the government, the deep state, or whatever people want to call it, they're not very friendly with President Trump. So it's not very surprising that they're coming out with this and defying the orders that he had given to give people the true disclosure, to give them the true knowledge of what's actually happening. And then now they come out with this, I don't even know what to call it, man. It's not a very good story. So
it's really not. It's really not at all. And to think that it would be something that they would go forward with, you'd be like, why? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what? And here's the other part that I wanted to go over is this narrative, right? So there's two separate narratives, or two. It's like a duality, right? Just like man has duality between good and evil. So now they project this duality onto this supposed exposure. Are they here to be our friends, or are they here to annihilate us? And a lot of what we're seeing is that they're, even within the UFO community, they're taking sides. They're separating the UFO community, which is also is a strategy that they've used on so many different levels. Why do you think that they're trying to do that as well? And like you said, Omar, this has a lot to do with this UAP because of the stigmas that went on when we were talking about UFOs. And they put down UFOs for so long that now, for them to take the side of the UFO, they would think that it would make them look crazy, or they would be the conspiracy theorists. So tell me why you think that they're placating this duality between maybe their allies or maybe their enemies.
Clarence, you want to go on first on this one?
Yeah.
Well, I want to play this clip for you. That's what I want to do, so you can hear what his explanation is on this stuff.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
bring it up.
So,
while he's queuing
this.
it up, Omar, you answer why
I
you
would
think that
say
is.
I would say what these guys are planning for, and this has been in the works for quite some time now. Like I said on our last show, that we've had these lasers coming down from space that have been causing all these fires and explosions in California for the last bunch of years, and then we had this. A Wuhan thing happened to us in the last year and a half, and then we've been saying for the last year that there is a alien invasion on its way. So what I'm thinking is going to happen, and these guys are setting it up for that, is that they're going to start blowing us up from the sky, and then they're going to say, "Oh my God, it's the UFOs and it's the aliens," and then they're going to try to restrict more of our freedoms, and they're going to take away more of our liberties, and put a tighter control or a tighter noose around our neck. And really, at the end of the day, I really feel that is part of their program, is just to take away our liberties, and then eventually, after that's run out, like the Wuhan thing has run out now, they're going to come back and they're going to say, "Oh, we've defeated the aliens; they're gone," and then the aliens will suddenly be gone, and our liberties along with it, and our freedoms along with it, and then we're not going to have anything after that. And then, of course, they'll come up with something else after that. So for me, I feel that that's the route that they're going on with what they're doing. First, they're going to say, "Oh, well, we said to you, we weren't sure about the other 10%, and it just turns out that the other 10% happen to be aliens. And now, look, we have to come together as a world to fight them." And then there's another never-ending war, like the war on drugs and the war on terror and things like that. So they're just creating another scenario for war. That's my personal thoughts on it.
Absolutely, it's another
Oh, I
box
like
of
that
division.
point.
It's
Blue
also
flute.
yeah, it's another box of division. Is really what it is.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
It's a
and
wild,
you got-
it's a wild thing.
Yeah, and we have to remember that within the UFO community, there are moles and CIA agents and FBI agents within the community, and they've been dividing this community and spreading misinformation, and releasing fake UFO videos, so that there's no credibility when somebody else releases a genuine UFO footage. So this is part of a much greater puzzle that they're working with. So I would say 50% of the people, or possibly even more, that are within the UFO community are actually fakes. And Luis Elizondo, for instance, I think he's a total fake, and more than likely a CIA agent. We look at Dr. Greer, same thing, CIA agent. You can go on Google and just Google Dr. Greer and CIA, and then next thing you know, you'll have like all these emails popping up from CIA where he's collaborating and working with them, and he's been lying for years. Anyways, I'm not a big fan of Dr. Greer, but I think that's what's happening. Is this fake invasion? We've been saying it. We've been saying it for a long time.
That's right.
And when it happens, you guys been calling us conspiracy theorists, just like the Wu flute. And then now this is going to happen, and then you guys are going to say, "Oh, you're conspiracy theorists." You're going to say you're insane, you're mad, you're gone out of your brain. No way. They're going to pull this kind of shit. But we didn't think they would be able to pull this Wu flute shit off either, right? But they did. Back in September, we didn't think they'd be able to pull that off either. They did. And the Vietnam, they did. World War II, they did. World War I, they did. Korea, they did. So all of these things, it's they just continue to do it, man. It's because they think we're stupid. They think that we have goldfish brains,
It's
goldfish
true.
memory. Yeah.
Just to piggyback off that, about 10 years ago, they did an attention span type of test that they did. So it was like an hour. Now it's down to like 30 seconds to 5 seconds, depending on the media that's being put in front of the people. That is wild. And I don't know if they're making these studies just to, basically persuade people that this is what it is, or not. But Clarence, where'd he go? What happened, Clarence? Clarence, what happened?
I'm here.
Where's the video too? You had the video up, and now the video's gone too. You got to show your
Yeah,
screen
I got
again.
it. Let me share that again.
But no, I mean it's so crazy that they would just think that this is what it is. This is who we are, and to me, it really makes me angry, because I feel that people are so much more intelligent than that. And the people that listen to the show, and people out there that we discuss things with, I always give them this benefit that they're well more intelligent than a 15-second, attention span. And I know that. And slowly but surely, I really think that these actions that are being perpetrated are going to ultimately wake people up to the spiritual beings that we are, and the fact that we can overcome and outlast anything that they put in front of us that's going to sway us to be separated, or not. It makes me sick to hear that about all this stuff, and I don't know why they feel like they're going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and getting away with it. It doesn't make sense.
Man. Alrighty, here we go. We got this here for you. Can you guys see this?
All right, there we go. Make it full screen, Clarence, and play that bad boy.
Yeah, if it works here, I don't know what this. For some reason, I am having an issue here.
Your computer's having an issue like crazy
Seconds
today,
with
huh?
This revolutionary toothbrush.
Yeah.
It was created by a well-known dentist.
Oh, of course, we
That's-
got a
it's-
commercial that had to pop up.
Of course.
I'll
Here,
mute
skip
that
the
for you.
ad. Yeah, skip the ad. We'll
Yeah,
get to
I'll
it.
skip the-
Listen, no paid promotions here except for the
Full
ones that we put
screen.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Go full screen. Well, what on earth is going on here? Gee whiz, I never had this much issue.
It seems like when you're trying to do it through this platform or any other platform, it tends to get bogged down a little bit. I don't know why.
Oh, we didn't have a bit of problem the other night. There we go. Normally
Now we
my
see it.
stuff's running quicker than this.
There we go. Seems like it's playing now.
Right. Your election is in the public interest. And if a
No,
president,
that's not it. This is not the video. What did they do?
That's all right. It happens. You probably hit something on the way. We'll get it. Not to worry. Yeah, it's all right, Renzo. Don't worry about it. Renzo's giving us the sleepy sign. This is all about trying to get information, but I know it takes time. But you know, you gotta bear with us for a moment. But guys,
Let
I
me
mean,
stop
this is
sharing here.
it's pretty wild too, you know. And that duality for me is like we were talking about before. It's this moment of you have to be on a side of something, you know. And it seems like every issue is that, but to me, this whole thing, this whole disclosure, if they were to tell us anything that they had, it would be this soft disclosure, right? We all know that everybody thinks that we're going to get all this stuff about Area 51, and if Bob Lazar was right, it's not even going to get close to that. They're going to tell us, yeah, they're out there, but we don't know. So, because one of the things that I heard was that there was unidentified flying objects within the DC, Virginia airspace that's not supposed to be accessed by planes. For 2 years straight, they would come and figure this out. You know what I mean? But for some reason, nobody's is finding out what this is. Now, if this was one of our enemies, it would truly be ridiculous that these people would just let this go. And even if they went out there, maybe, you know, they couldn't do the same maneuvering as this thing, but you would think that they would at least try and figure out what it is to make sure it wasn't an enemy of the United States, or if it was something from outer space. That to me shows that they don't care enough. Like and now we have to wait for politicians to disclose this stuff when people like us have been talking about this forever. You know, you would think that these people would go out and listen to the people now that have been talking about this for the last 20 years, not go by what, you know, they're being told to follow this bread trail. You know, we've been putting bread trails out there forever.
I think people have misinterpreted the word disclosure. There's been, this steady energy put into this idea of what you were just saying, Rob, is that the government is going to disclose UFOs and Area 51 and Bob Lazar's Pentium, like all of that. They're going to say, yep, all of that is real, and we've recovered crafts and such. But, really, is that really disclosure? It's not. That's not disclosure. All that is the government stepping up to the podium and saying, yes, there's UFOs, and yes, there's aliens, and that's it. To me, that's not disclosure. To me, what disclosure means is that these guys will take experts, people who have spent decades in researching our ancient history, people who have spent decades researching this UFO and alien thing and ancient astronaut theory, and this artificial amnesia that humanity is suffering from. When all of that is lifted, when the government tells us that pharmaceutical is just poisoning you, Plant medicine is good. People have the ability to speak and communicate with the animal kingdom and to the plant kingdom. This is how you do it. These are the experts if you want to learn how to do it. Here are the links. Go and educate yourself. To me, that is disclosure. That's when the government is stepping up and saying, okay, enough of the lies. We're just going to tell you who and what we are as a human species. To me, UFO is like, maybe 0.5% of the overall disclosure package, right? Now, when the government says, oh, we have a disclosure package, but within that package, what does a package mean? Package means a list, a laundry list of things, right? 3 things or more is a list. But when these guys say they got a disclosure package, they're only talking about UFOs. So where's the package, right? Who built the pyramids? Who built Stonehenge, and who lived here before us? Did humanity really emerge out of Australia or Africa or South America, or did we come from everywhere? Are we an extraterrestrial species ourselves? That to me is disclosure, right? So, for me, it's a misconception and, a bit naive to attach, the word disclosure to UFOs, and UFOs are everything, right? To me, that's not, it's not disclosure.
It's not. It's not. And I think we're ready with this video. Let's add it to the stream. And go ahead, hit that button, Clarence. Let's go.
Oh, there we go.
Is a longtime Pentagon official. For years, he oversaw investigations at the U.S. government into UFOs. He's left now. He and his organization, Skyfort, have obtained a government document that proves the advanced Tic Tac UFO has been tracked by American military intel services for at least 70 years. That's much earlier than we thought. Lou Elizondo joins us tonight. Lou, thanks so much for coming on.
Tucker, always a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask you about this document first before I ask you about the upcoming report. What is this document you've obtained show us?
Well, this is a document that was obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, and it demonstrates quite clearly that we have had issues with these, if you will, these UAPs or UFOs in the vernacular for at least 70 years, at least since 1950, probably earlier. And this is official U.S. government correspondence. This isn't some eyewitness report from a civilian. This is official government documentation from military personnel to very senior military brass. And what it says is very quite compelling that, look, we've had a lot of military and intelligence eyewitnesses, to include special agents and scientists, and all of them are seeing these things. And more importantly, the frequency has occurred on a regular and continuing basis over sensitive U.S. military facilities. And this has been occurring, Tucker, again, since 1950, according to official U.S. government documentation. So think about that for a minute when we talk about that on the backdrop of this recent revelation that the U.S. government has finally admitted that this is not some sort of secret U.S. technology. Well, okay, that's great. We already knew that. But now there is some wiggle room to say, well, maybe it's some sort of foreign adversarial technology. Well, here's the problem with that theory, because we know that the Russians, after the Berlin Wall came down, they shared a lot of information with us. There was this 5-year period or so, this new romance between us and Russia, where they shared a lot of their UFO information with us. And by the way, they were seeing exactly the same thing in their skies that we were. So we're sure it's not Russian. So then really the only other country that could possibly be would maybe be China. Well, let's look at that for a second, Tucker, because you're talking about a country that for 70 years has kept this technology that was at least 1,000 years ahead of us, kept it secret, was able to employ it against us all the way back in 1950. By the way, this is the same country that steals billions of dollars worth of our technology each year, trying to keep a competitive advantage to this day with our country. Now, does that make a whole lot of sense to you?
No. I mean, there were famines in China 70 years ago. Quickly, there seems to be some connection, anecdotally there is, between these objects and nuclear reactors, nuclear warheads, nuclear-powered vehicles, submarines, and warships. We didn't get nuclear technology, of course, until the end of the Second World War, 44, 45. We had airplanes. We had an Army Air Corps going back to the First World War. Were there sightings of these before the United States possessed nuclear technology?
There were anecdotal sightings, but really there seems to be a significant uptick. Once the United States and other countries really entered into the atomic age, we began to see an increased uptick, what appeared to be some sort of reconnaissance or surveillance of our nuclear technology, our nuclear development, whether it's power or propulsion or weapon systems and related technology.
That's just it's amazing. It's a tantalizing suggestion. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it's interesting as hell. Lou Elizondo, I appreciate your coming on tonight. I hope we see you soon.
Always a pleasure.
So there it is.
You know,
what do you think he is saying?
He's telling
Tell
you
me
that,
what he just said.
there's no aliens out there. It's not what it's not there. It's only all of a sudden now, because of this nuclear race, they decided to disclose themselves to people when they've been, I mean, the real sightings happened all the way back from like 1835 in the Farmer's Almanac. To me, this guy is he's just a plant. He is literally just a plant to be put out there. They picked some dude who was going to look decently, stacking up and put him on shows like Tucker Carlson and all the rest of them.
I got to wonder just how much knowledge he even has in the ufology industry. I mean, seriously, to listen to him talk and describe things, he's only going back 70 years. Are you kidding me? The Aurora crash in Texas happened in the late 1800s. Does he not even know this stuff? You know what I'm saying? And as far as people spotting UFOs and stuff in the 40s and stuff, come on. Who was the guy that actually coined the phrase flying saucer? Remember when he seen those 6 discs skipping across like on water? Remember that? And they were wing-shaped? Yeah. I mean, come on. This is well over 70 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This guy has no knowledge at all about ufology. None.
The UFOs are being seen in our skies for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Absolutely.
Right? But in the last 70 years, and I've heard this from other ufologists and contactees and such, since we tested Trinity, and since then, see what happens is that the Earth in the space is in, that space is interlocked as a web with other parts of space. So when there's a nuclear detonation here on Earth or anywhere else on any other planet, the effect of it is felt. How can I explain this? I shouldn't say heard, but it's
felt all around the world.
Yeah.
It's felt across the universe.
It's felt that its ripple is felt
in time and space.
In time and space on other planets. So what he's saying that the UFO activity has increased since we began doing these nuclear tests and stuff. That is true. That has been happening, but what he's not addressing, the fact before the 70 years of 10,000, 20, 50, 100,000 years, is the fact that we have been visited on a regular basis and on a consistent basis for a very, very, very long time. And probably what's happening here in the last 70 years is probably some sort of a security force or a police force or an investigative force from these ET groups that are coming to check us out on what type of weapons do we have. Are we a danger to ourselves, and are we a danger to other species that are out there? Because you have to remember that these UFOs and these ETs have invested a lot of time and energy into the human species for the last few thousand years. When I say few, I'm talking 30, 40, 50,000 years where this genetic engineering, hybrid engineering program has been going on. So for them to have invested all this time into, abducting and genetically engineering our species, and then for us to possess such a dangerous weapon, and then to go to war with ourselves and start bombing each other like we did at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, that there is a real threat there of us annihilating ourselves and destroying ourselves. And if that is the case, then how does the extraterrestrial stop that from its work being destroyed, because if we destroy the world, then everything in the world they worked for will itself be destroyed. So that's really the question that stands up in my mind.
I got one more here I want to share with you guys.
The look on Tucker's face didn't show that he believed him. Tucker looked like this.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, it's tough to really say if that guy is in it or not. But I don't really, from what he's talking about, it doesn't make sense to me that he's ever been in the ufology community. I know we have, Steve. I don't know what that's supposed to mean in the comments, but I would appreciate you leave the negativity somewhere else and just keep it positive. This is all just a discussion here. So,
thanks for sharing tonight. These are all personal opinions. Well, yeah, they are personal opinions.
They are personal opinions, but it has to do with everything and everybody. So, yeah.
Has a little bit of science behind it, a little bit of proof. So I guess it's not for everybody, but
no, and that's
you're right. Let's leave the negativity out.
Well, it's not, that wasn't the one that was, I don't care about that. Thanks for sharing it all. It was the last one that he left that really, there's no need for that. And
I can't see it. I got that great big help icon in the corner. Have any of you guys ever been addicted or abducted? Yes. I myself have not, but Clarence was abducted back in the 70s. And my wife has had ongoing alien abductions since she was a child. Now, these abductions, the method of abductions change over time. What happens is that first of all, these UFO abductions that are happening are hereditary. 80% of the abductions that happen are women. Now, what I mean by hereditary is that if you're a woman, you've been abducted, then the chances are that your sister has been abducted, your mom has been abducted, your aunties have been abducted, your grandma has been abducted, your great-grandma has been abducted. Now, the way these abductions work is that there are two phases to these abductions. One phase is that when you're a child, when you're younger, up until usually about 12 to 13 years old, you have physical abductions where they take you up into a ship and they're teaching you things. They're putting you in classes and they're teaching you things. And then after that particular age of 12 or 13 years old, then what happens is that they begin to subconsciously abduct you. It's almost like they're abducting your consciousness. That is why people say, I felt like I was going through the wall. Your physical avatar is not going to go through the wall, but your light body, your essence, your subconscious will go through the wall. It will go through the ceiling. So the abduction methods change over years. And what's been happening to my wife since she was 13, 14 years old is that these are not physical abductions anymore, but in fact that they're subconscious abductions. And, first we need to understand the method of abductions that are happening and how they are abducting. Bro, you don't need a cup.
Yeah. Get the whole pot, you know what I mean?
Put the whole pot in there, bro.
That's funny.
That's why I keep it so close to the studio. It's literally on the same table as all the rest of the stuff, so I can just right to it. I got to be caffeinated. That's just my thing. Got to be caffeinated.
Rob, if you want to cue up this next one is from Jeremy Corbell, who is the guy that basically got all these damn things started here this last.
Sure. One thing first, Steve. I apologize. It says addicted up there, and I didn't realize it was trying to say abducted. That's why I thought maybe you were referring that we were high as kites and maybe out of our minds. I apologize. That's what I
we are anyway. Yeah.
But
I am.
No, that was my bad. That was my bad. But no, abduction is a real thing, and I've talked to many people that have partaken within the hybrid program. Actually, on July 11th, there will be somebody who has. And also on June 20th to 21st, one of the ladies that we are having on has been a pivotal part of the hybridization program. Mm-hmm. And she is she's consciously aware, and she helps people consciously and with their consciousness every day of the week. This is what she does for a living. So when we say these things, we're not saying, and I just want to preface this, we're not saying these things just to say them. we're saying a lot of this stuff because this is what we've come in contact with, working within this field and investigating this stuff every day that we talk to people like this. So, it's not so much what we think. It's what we've noticed. It's an observation of the people, not just a mental state of us being like, well, this sounds good. No, this is what we've witnessed. And I want to preface that because it makes a difference. A lot of people like Lou Elizondo are talking to government officials who have no knowledge of this stuff or have not even partaken in any of these programs.
Here's the thing, Rob, and I want to stress this to everybody. And I find this very, very, very ironic. And I think I said this the other day. Unlike myself, most people who are in this field have never had any kind of an encounter whatsoever. I think I am one of the very few who's an actual abductee experiencer that's on this program. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're no bullshitter because you had witnesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you had witnesses when this was happening, and also your mom.
My mother was there.
Saw the UFO and then seen it many, many times after that. So I'm well aware of your encounter, and it's absolutely genuine. And then to talk about that, we got Mary Rodwell. Mary Rodwell has been researching this abductions for the last 50 years. She's interviewed more than 2,000 abductees. She's written tons and tons of books on this. We've had the opportunity to speak with her. And then we have Barbara Lamb, same thing. Barbara Lamb's been doing this for like 40, 50 years. She's interviewed thousands and thousands of abductees, has written countless books on the subject. So, you're right, Rob. It's not an opinion. It's more so of what we've been exposed to and what we've come across, and just simply relaying that information forward. And that's it. I'm not claiming I've ever had a abduction experience, which I never had. I wish I did, so that I can clearly understand what's going on here. Just for that reason, scientifically, I want to be abducted.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's kind of like
if you want to probe me, use lube.
It's kind of a thing. It's like a give and take. Do you want to be abducted? Do you not want to be abducted? It's like I do. But at the same time, I don't want to feel the physical or mental effects of being abducted. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But I mean,
from what I understand, from what I understand,
sure.
Sometimes it's a traumatic experience, and sometimes it's a nice experience. Right, so it really depends on who's taking you. Like we were saying earlier, there's a number of different factions that are at work here, and just like us humans, there are some good ones and there's some bad ones. And with the ET, it's the same thing. There's the good ones and the bad ones. There's the Klingons, and then there's the the Spocks. What are they called again? The
Vulcans.
Vulcans.
Well, here's the ordeal, though. All BS aside, when you got all of these news networks. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, Today Show, yada, 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 and on down the line. And they got all of these people on their shows talking about it and whatever. But yet not one newscaster or any of those people will say, I believe, or I know somebody that's had an experience, or blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? There isn't any kind of truth behind any of these news sources or anybody who will step forward and recognize the ordeal. And that's what bothers me about it,
I don't understand the fact on, again, back to the old double think. We know the government lies, but we are expecting them to tell us the truth. We know that the media lies, and look what they've been doing with this Wu flu for the last year or so. We know that they lie. But yet we rely on them to tell us the truth about what we want to hear, right? So for me, there's this double think happening, which we need to come to terms with and pick a side. Either you believe them or you don't, right? Don't sit here and say, okay, well, I don't trust the media. And then the next day say, no, well, did you hear what Tucker Carlson said? He said UFOs aren't real, so they must not be real. I'm fine with that.
Well, that's not what Tucker said.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm just using that as an example, right? But you know, I like Tucker. I don't want to make him sound bad or anything,
Yeah.
but I'm just simply using it as an example. Is that one day they're saying that Tucker's full of shit, the next day they're saying, "Oh, I believe Tucker," right? So we need to get away from that double think, right? Because we know government lies, we know the fucking media lies. So what do we do, right? We are at this precipice, and we're at this cusp now of what do we do next? Right. We know these people are going to lie to us. We know we're never going to get the truth out of them. They're always going to give us breadcrumbs, and those breadcrumbs going to have a lot of shit on them. And we're not really going to be able to get to the bottom of this. So there's only one thing left to do, is people have their own disclosure. You know, do something, what I was saying earlier, you know, of an entire disclosure package. That's what needs to happen. That needs to get attention, and that needs to get out into the world, because people like us, the little YouTubers here, you know, not even influencers, you know, when we're sitting here, we have nothing to gain from deception. We have nothing to gain from lies. You know, all we want is a simple truth. So, you know, for me, I always go back to the fact that, you know, I don't know why we're looking for information and truth from organizations that are in the business of lying to us. So, you know, I think there's a massive confusion that's happening here, and we need to address that first and foremost before we even start talking about disclosures and UFOs and aliens and kind of what have you, because we're beyond the idea of, are we alone in the universe? Is there you know, extraterrestrials out there? We're beyond that. We know that there's extraterrestrials. We have organizations throughout the world like the CE5, Global Peace Tribes, Saturday Night Alive, that are in the process of making contact with ET, right? So, you know, we need to go to organizations such as that for a real disclosure. You know, Uncle Sam ain't going to tell us shit. You know, they're not, you know, excuse the language, but they're not going to tell us. So I say we stop. Yeah, I say we stop wasting our energy and going to these sources for information.
Yeah, but then you got people like this guy on video here. You know,
let's see.
Rob wants to cue this up. This is our buddy Jeremy Corbell, who got these videos, right? Yeah, let me.
I added it to the stream and it wasn't going up at first. I'm like, wait a minute, where did it go? What happened to it?
Yeah, let me skip this ad here real quick.
I love the ads.
I know, right? Oprah. They do it on purpose, but
use Oprah. I use Oprah for YouTube, and it skips all the ads.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You shout out to Oprah there.
You get a car. You get a car. You get disclosure. You get disclosure. No, you get disclosure. There we go. Now that I got it out of my system, I feel better.
Oh, come on now. What happened?
It doesn't like you. Your PC has told
I'm serious.
It flipped the bird for you, and it was like, you know what? Yeah. There we go.
Okay, here we go.
No. There we go.
By filmmaker Jeremy Corbell. UFOs are no longer a joke.
My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
Now, these are videos that came out in 2017.
Seriously,
now, look, night vision,
videos like
infrared,
these that have been released.
No regular videos.
By U.S. Navy pilots encountering objects moving in ways they could not explain. The U.S. government says
this
the videos
is the newest one of Corbell,
that it's investigating,
right,
and that it doesn't know what the objects are. Some of these authenticated videos have been leaked by filmmaker Jeremy Corbell.
The green one, where it's like you see the night vision on the USS Russell, that was part of a much bigger UFO event series. So then I released the USS Omaha. You see the object dropping into the water.
Another blurry video.
What was splashed? Mark bearing and range.
None of these
Look how grainy that
control
video is.
surfaces have wings, rotors, tails, plumes, or exhaust. None of them.
1945, that video?
Well, if there's like it's rotating.
Are there actual like high quality 4K definition shots of these things that the military has?
Yes.
There is. Have you seen them?
I couldn't say.
See? Look what he just did.
Do you
Did you hear
think
that?
we will ever see them as a public?
I hope so.
All this has
Let me
led to
back
a
that up
U.S.
for just a
government
second. Now, this is
intelligence report that will be
listen to
released
what he just
publicly.
said.
The New York Times this past
This is unbelievable. I can't believe what he just said.
About the 4K video?
Are there actual like high quality 4K definition shots of these things that the military has?
Yes.
There is. Have you seen them?
Now, why is it that this guy cannot say whether he's seen real footage? He has no kind of security clearance. He's nothing but a freaking documentary filmmaker. Okay, so why is it he's sitting there saying, I can't say? What is his ordeal?
You know, who the hell knows?
Well, his ordeal is that he's a CIA agent that's spreading misinformation.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. And you know who he's working with, don't you?
Yeah,
George.
Yeah, that
Knapp.
would be like Michael Moore walking into the Pentagon and asking for the UFO footages and then giving it to him. You know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Let me finish this up here.
Do you think we will ever see them as a public?
I hope so.
All this has led to a U.S. government intelligence report that will be released publicly. The New York Times this past week, though, leaked some of the information that's going to be in it. Apparently, the U.S. government looked at 120 incidents over 20 years and found them to be unexplainable. They could not definitively rule in or out that the phenomenon is alien spacecraft.
I have never claimed that these are aliens. I have never claimed that I know. What I am saying is that these are unknowns. and I'm not even saying it.
He's a liar.
Is saying it.
Easy,
He is a liar. He is a liar. Did he not come out with this and say that these are UFOs? Did he not come out and say, come on.
He did.
Come on.
Full body.
Come on. Now he's sitting there lying again, saying, I never said they were UFOs. What a lying smug.
Well, he's right. They're not UFOs. According to him, they're UAPs.
Same difference. Yeah, but you hear what he said? UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Listen,
transmedium vehicles.
And who comes up with that?
Transmedium vehicles?
Yeah, listen to this. You got to hear what he says here. This is, I'll back it up just a second here. Yeah, listen.
So advanced aerospace, transmedium vehicles that operate with impunity over our nuclear installations and restricted airspace, as well as other countries.
Indeed, there is a Canadian
Unbelievable.
connection.
Who gave him that title?
News published an article last week detailing the Canadian military's interaction with UFOs. Vice wrote it, quote, discovered close to 70 years of cases involving the Canadian Armed Forces, such as a large tubular object tracked by radar in 2002, a white spot turning blue and red and traveling in a zigzag formation above Ontario's CFB Borden base in 1978, and an orange pulsating symmetrical light witnessed silently speeding over Ottawa by a pair of Air Force officers in March of 1950.
Beyond what exactly these things are, the big question, I think, is what are their motivations? One thing that has been well documented throughout the years is that this phenomena tends to happen close to U.S. nuclear bases.
To this day, there are incursions by unknowns within our most restricted nuclear facility airspace. I can tell you that with absolute 100% certainty. And there is footage taken. Now, what are they doing? You know, look, your guess is as good as mine.
Corbell tells me he thinks the U.S. government may be more willing to discuss this type of information now because of an increase in public pressure to do so. The full U.S. Senate Intelligence Commission report on this phenomena is due out before the end of the month. In Toronto, Richard Southern, City News.
See, this is the kind of bullshit. This is the kind of bullshit that we got to deal with because of people like him.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely.
The former Minister of Defense of Canada, I forgot his name, Rick Hillier. He's, you know, I've listened to him on Portal to Ascension, attended conferences with him there, have had the chance to to communicate with him, and he's said it very, very clearly. And he's the highest-ranking government official from Canada who has said that Canadian government has encountered UFOs and has encountered ETs, and that UFOs are extraterrestrials. I can probably share a link to that conversation. I'll give it to Rob after the show's over, and maybe Rob can put it in the description of this video. But you know, that he's the highest-ranking Canadian government member that's admitted that ETs and UFOs are real. Just to go back up to Yale Reid, she was asking about the slave that's written on the side of the camera. She was asking, anyone know why that is? I'm not really sure. I saw that as well, and I was like, you know, hey, pointed that out to my wife and go, hey, Dave, look, we've got a slave written on there. Maybe it's because they want to remind the pilots that they're slaves. I'm not sure.
Maybe that camera is a drone that's flying alongside the aircraft themselves, and it's a slave drone, they call it. It's bad, but I've heard that term before.
Yeah. I don't know, but you know, the thing that I do know is that UFOs are real, aliens are real. We're in contact with them, and we're interacting with them. And guys like Buddy here, they're just you know, simply lying. First he says you know, they're UFOs, then he's saying, well, I never said that, and then later on he goes on to, well, 100% guaranteed. You know, no, guys like that cannot be trusted and shouldn't be trusted in what they say.
I got one more thing here I want to share with you guys. Rob, if you want to boot this up. This will give you the other side of what we're talking about here. And you're going to recognize this guy. This guy's on TV every Sunday. You've probably seen the show of What on Earth? You ever seen that show?
Yep.
Okay, well, you're going to recognize this guy.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, too, is, you know, talking about power plants. I live in the Hudson Valley, and there's an Indian Point power plant. And during the 80s, before all of these, you know, all this crazy technology, there was a whole town that witnessed the UFO come over the power plant and turn a lot of stuff off. It turned off it did something to the nuclear reactor, but didn't turn it fully off. Of course, it would have went critical if you turned it all the way off. But it was coming to the point of overloading almost, and it actually it made it so it didn't overload. And it's a story that's very well known around my area. So it's a wild thing. And this is the same thing that's happened all over the world. Everybody around the world and all these different countries have had something similar that, you know, that's happened like that. So I would suggest, if you guys want to look up a specific an American power plant that had that happen, look at Indian Point, because it's very thorough. It's a very, very big case that MUFON studied. They said that there was men in black around trying to talk to people about it. It's a rabbit hole, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to really go after it, but just somewhere to start.
Don't forget the Men in Blue as well. We have Men in White, Men in Black, and there's also an organization known as the Men in Blue. They operate in Australia, and they have pretty much the same functions as the Men in Black here in North America. And speaking of shutting down the nuclear reactors, there's been stories and recorded stories of you know, many nuclear reactors being shut off at the same time within the United States. And I'm guessing that's probably because they didn't trust the American government, because they're the only ones who've actually dropped nuclear devices on people, right? So they probably didn't trust them and shut them off, thinking that you know, they would probably blow them out of the sky, or you know, something.
Very true.
Yeah, something towards that nature. I know if I went and visited a planet and I knew that they'd killed their own people with such a device, I too would try to take control of it to protect myself, right? Because I need to get back home, right? And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, check out this guy's answer here.
Okay, so the first extraterrestrial I saw was riding a bike in the sky and wanted to phone home. But lately, UFO sightings have been getting quite a lot of attention, including from our federal government. A highly anticipated report from intelligence officials on UFOs found no evidence of extraterrestrial activity. But hold on, Stranger Things fans, because they can't rule out the possibility of an alien spacecraft either. U.S. officials said the report also does not rule out the possibility the flying objects could be highly advanced aircrafts from other nations, earthly nations, we don't know. Joining me now, Dr. Hakeem Oluseyi, astrophysicist
Anybody recognize
and
this
author
guy?
of a wonderful new book, A Quantum Life, which comes out June 15th,
Oh, yeah.
and also an HBCU
Oh, yeah.
graduate right out of Tougaloo College in Mississippi. So happy to have you join me this morning, Hakeem. Thanks for being here. I think the question everybody wants to know is, are we alone in this universe or what?
Well, thanks for having me, Tiffany. I'm so happy to be
Not
here.
even
with
a
you.
ufologist.
Well, it depends on how you define alone. So from the astrophysicist perspective, our job is to look at the universe, observe it rigorously, and then allow it to tell us what it is and what it's doing. And so from what we can see, we believe, well, I wouldn't even use the word believe, but it's highly likely that life in the single cell form is probably ubiquitous across the universe where it can exist. But when we start talking about advanced life, if you look at the example of Earth, for something around 90% of Earth's existence, if you had come here before the last 600 million years, you wouldn't see a planet full of life like you see today. It's only the last 600 million years since the Cambrian explosion that we have this planet full of life. And even then, only one technologically advanced species, which is ourselves. And for those of us who study this, we know that Earth is so special in so many ways that the chances of repeating this somewhere nearby is incredibly slim.
All right. So, you know, we've got a lot of conspiracy theorists out there, people who do
There-
that on
there's
the
the
corner
word.
philosophizing that the government is not telling us the truth. So I'm curious, do you find this report credible? You know, because if there was actually, like, would the government come out and tell us? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a physicist, and our job is to get information out of little bitty tiny bits of,
I thought he was an
of
astrophysicist.
data. And
Is
so
he a
what we
physicist?
have here is a release of data. So as a physicist, we never trust the data. We don't trust the data if it's coming out of an instrument. We don't trust the data if it's an eyewitness. What we do is the data has to be validated, to be
We trust the
calibrated,
data the
and
government
we have
gives
to
us.
get rid
That's
of anything that's unreliable in the data. So it's a matter of getting the raw data and analyzing it and extracting from it what you can, and then allowing that data to tell you the story. And I think what happens is, you know, we've all been primed. We've been watching sci-fi forever, right? All of our lives now. And people will inject their favorite idea into the unknown sometimes, right? So if I have no idea what it is, which is what everyone is saying, then what do I have? I have an open question, not let me insert aliens.
Right. That's fair. I think that's a really good point. I have to tell you, this week in doing research for this segment, I learned that there is something, I'm going to mispronounce it first and I'll say it the correct way, UFOologist, but it's actually pronounced ufologist, I believe. And they say that there isn't necessarily more sightings, but that people were home and perhaps paid more attention and saw more things, you know, flying around in the sky. What do you think? I mean, could the alien population be increasing and just be increasingly curious about what us Earthlings are up to?
You know, that again, that's something that's hard to believe for an astrophysicist because, you know, when we think about these aliens, they're flying interstellar distances to visit our little planet, right? And so there is nothing you can get once you arrive that's worth the cost of the trip. So why would that be happening at all? In fact, you know, there's this assumption that they will be way more advanced. So think about it. When Columbus showed up in the Americas with his
I got three things to say about
ships,
this.
they were not the actual aircraft carriers, right? They were very early types of vehicles.
Right.
I'm being interrupted.
Yes, I was going to say little alien babies around there somewhere trying to get your attention. Well, now we have to see the baby. The baby has made it.
Okay,
so
we can
three
shut
things,
that
right?
off.
Three things that I picked up. First, she said Stranger Things, right? Pointing. This is why this is important. Okay, the media is perpetrating a different narrative, and they're making a big joke out of all of it. So first, she says Stranger Things. First off, Stranger Things has nothing to do with aliens. It has to do with interdimensional beings that come from this other side of a dimension, that the Russians opened up a doorway, right? First. Then he says sci-fi. Oh, it's the Sci-Fi Channel. So what you're saying is that you're basically putting this in the same reference as TV or a Star Trek or some kind of expression of the media, which means that. And then she says something like, "Well, I studied this, and it's ufology," but not really. Like, she's literally using all of that to discredit it. And then she, of course, she says conspiracy theories. And then you have him saying, well, astrophysicists, this and that. Scientists don't listen to any data unless they're allowed to let that data out. Right. Exactly, Kathy. It is all pretend. It is just trying to manipulate and manufacture a story so they have something to fall back on when the actual truth comes out. And that's what they did.
See, and this is the kind of shit that I can't stand. And he's on TV every Sunday, and they're talking about galaxies and different space stuff and whatever, and blah blah blah. And he's so well known. Him and Tyson both, are on these programs, and yet he comes on the news and gives us this crap. You know what I'm saying? And it's just totally irritating as far as I'm concerned. But this is what we have to deal with.
It's like she's saying, I'm on Starship Enterprise, and they beamed me down to the planet Tatooine, where I pulled out my lightsaber and was talking to C-3PO so they could translate for the Ewoks to talk to me. Like, that's what she's saying.
Thing. Does it sound to you like this guy? Does it sound to you like this guy has an open mind about anything?
Absolutely not.
You see what I'm saying? Because he knows if he were to come out and say, well, I believe that they're real, or there could be, even a could be life out there. Now, who the hell is going to come out here and say, no, we're the only ones that exist, which is basically what he's saying.
Statistically,
you know what I mean?
Impossible. It's impossible.
It's absolutely impossible.
Somebody who's proficient in calculus will tell you that. But a scientist who is another form of science, will say, well, that's hard to chew. It's hard to swallow. Like, come on, guy. Come on.
But see, all he's doing is trying to keep his job. Yeah. Go ahead, Omar. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. You're right. He is trying to keep his job. And number two, he's been told what to say. And he was given a pre, what do you call that? Like a script for him to follow. Now the ignorance of this man is incredible. We have discovered a lot of evidence that the Mars at one time had water on it, and it had life on it, intelligent life, advanced life like ours. And he's saying that if he showed up here 600 million years ago, you wouldn't have found nothing. Fact of the matter is that Rob just had Michael Cremo on. And Michael Cremo has discovered anomalies that date back 500 million years, 600 million years. Klaus Donna has discovered artifacts on this planet that go back 700-800 million years. There is a nuclear reactor that was discovered in the mines of South Africa that dates back to 2.2 billion years. So when this guy tries to tell me that there was no life here on Earth 600 million years ago, to me, that's just absolute ignorance. And, it shows me that he got squeezed out of the sausage factory. He had to repeat and remember everything that they told him. And now he's out in the world repeating everything that he learned and everything they told him to repeat, along with Tyson. Those two are the biggest bullshit spreaders that there ever was. These guys have no idea, no clue.
Why in the hell
and
is
then,
it
hang on.
Oh, I'm
hang
sorry,
on 1 second. Yeah, hang on 1 second. And then this guy is saying that, they're traveling these vast distances across space. How do we know that? How do we know that they're not using the sun as a wormhole to travel from one system to the next? How do we know that they don't have something like the spore drive that they use on New Star Trek, where they can go from one spot to another spot instantaneously? How do we know that these UFOs aren't traveling by thought? right? By thought. If you think to yourself, okay, I'm from the Pleiades constellation, I need to go to this star, you close your eyes or you think that thought, boom, you're there. How do we know that these ETs aren't using that type of technology? For him to rule all of that out, it's just simply ignorance. And when that type of ignorance is being displayed, you should know not to listen to it.
Yeah. Well, here's
ahead,
my
Clarence.
deal, and I've said this a million times. Who is it that says they got to be interstellar? You know, I mean, we have wormholes, we have black holes, we have white holes. You know what I'm saying? There's other means of travel other than just flying across the universe. You know what I mean? Not to mention the fact we got so many different moons from nearby planets that anything could be living on these. They don't have to be like us. You know what I'm saying? Just because they live in a different environment and stuff doesn't mean they're going to be human-like, you know?
That's very true.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. So to have that kind of mentality, to me, is just so closed-minded. But yet he is one of these guys that we are supposed to be listening to and looking up to and live on everything that they say, you know? And it's
Absolutely.
just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
I'm gonna add another caveat to it, Clarence. What if they're time displaced or dimensionally displaced? That doesn't mean, they don't have to even come from anywhere but our timeline further in the future.
Absolutely.
One of the things that they say is when people go into space and they travel, if you're on the ISS space station, you have to work out because your muscles get sinewy and long. The artificial gravity makes your arms longer. If you're not staring into the sun, your eyes will turn a pitch of black. You'll lose your hair. There's so many different things that we could talk about of how
it's been proven.
Right. Could transform at that. And, it's so wild. And one of the things that I always say is, I just said that they're literally playing this as like a movie, but art imitates reality, right? So a lot of these stories that we hear from like Star Trek and Star Wars, those all could be a possibility, right? So we know that. And one of the things, we're not trying to get too far off the reservation here, but when we look at everything as a collective, there is more evidence out within the community than there is in any scientist, because the scientists, unless they say it, they deem it pseudo. That's it. If it doesn't come out of their mouth, it's pseudo. Therefore, it should be dismissed, which is the same reason it's got that word pseudo has the same effect as conspiracy theorist. And they've labeled us these words and these people for so long. That's why I changed it. I said, I'm a conspiracy investigator. I am not a theorist. I'm investigating what other people have said. I'm not making the theories up myself. So,
my thing is, Rob, too, why is it he doesn't have an explanation for all these people who have had abductions and their stories? Why doesn't he look into that?
Because they were dreaming. Well, they were dreaming.
Yeah.
It was an illusion. They were hallucinating.
They had a mental break. They had a mental break.
Well, I tell you what, if that's the case, then we need to be worried about our goddamn society, because we're all a bunch of freaking freaks running around.
Everybody's on
seriously, think about it. Of all the thousands of UFO abductees, and I'm saying thousands, it ain't just here in the United States, it's worldwide.
Millions.
That's right.
Millions.
I'll ask you, Clarence, how many people have you connected with being an abductee as you are? Hundreds upon thousands. Now, exponentially, that ranges from 3, 4, 5, 6 million, 7 million. Why would they do that? If you know what I mean? What's the purpose behind it? Why would they take all these people? If there wasn't something really going on, do you think all these people would have a shared hallucination or a shared dream state that would relatively be the same when they're on different sides of the continent or different sides of the earth, yet they're explaining the same thing? There is a truth within that seed, and you have to plant that seed, let the plant grow, and figure out what's happening. But to use a metaphor, but all of these people had all the same type of experiences. When they don't even speak the same language, they can barely articulate to each other.
Right.
It does, to me, that's a tell right there. That's a tell saying that there's more going on than meets the eye, more than these people would love to admit.
Well, these people that come up to me and say, "Oh, well, you had sleep paralysis." Really? Well, then how is it my sleep paralysis drummed up 3 gray aliens at the age of 12 years old? Where did the gray aliens come in? Where would I get that image from?
That's true. Back in the day, it wasn't even talked about.
It wasn't
like
even
that.
talked about. Nobody even knew what a gray alien was. Well, supposedly, unless you do the Roswell crash. But
you weren't
you know
seeing
what I'm
that
saying.
kind of stuff on TV. So you couldn't have been exposed
Not in
to
my
it from
time,
the
I
TV.
didn't.
You know, they didn't have that stuff in comic books. You wouldn't
Not
have
in
been
my
exposed to that. So it wouldn't have been like an imagination or a a pre-added memory from something that you conjured up in your dream. And not to mention, those three look different from one another as well.
And here's the thing, Closer Encounters of the Fifth Kind didn't come out until after my ordeal. So you can't say it was that movie.
Well, the Fifth Kind is Stephen Greer's kind. I think.
Well, no, I'm saying of the third kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the movie that came out in the 70s, that came out after my ordeal and after Betty and Barney Hill's ordeal and after a lot of other people's ordeals. So, yeah, how does that work?
I was just talking. I was just last week. I was talking to Betty's niece.
Yeah, she's an investigator.
Betty and Barney Hill's niece. She gave a really nice 1-hour lecture at a 4D speaker conference that we had last week, and the things that she was saying are just absolutely incredible. There's two things I have to add. One is that just because we haven't figured out artificial gravity doesn't necessarily mean that the ET or someone out there hasn't figured out artificial gravity, and that their physical avatar is not going to be damaged, within space travel. And number two, just before TV came out and TV became mainstream, when was that? Like in the 50s or so. Prior to that, entire villages, like literally entire villages, every man, woman, and child within those villages were being abducted, right? There's stories of, there's recorded stories of this, where people have gone to this village where there was filled with people the day before, and the next day they showed up and there was nobody in that village, and nobody was there for weeks at a time, and then they would come back and then suddenly everybody was there. But when TV became mainstream and news became mainstream and information was being relayed out, what these ET groups decided to do was not abduct entire towns, and they decided to cherry pick. Couple here, couple there, couple here, couple there. So throughout the day, they're abducting thousands of people every single day. So there's like this massive, massive program that's going on. And you can't tell me that, they're abducting people so they can anally probe them and try to figure out what we are and blah, blah, blah. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think that is a stigma which has been attached by the government and all these, lamestream medias that have attached that, oh, they're going to stick probes up your ass and they're going to do this to you, they're going to do that to you. But the people that I've been speaking to that are abductees and that are experiencers, they're not reporting that kind of stuff. Right? They're reporting something totally different. What they're saying is that they're being taken up there. Sometimes they're made to breed, and other times when children are being taken up into these spacecrafts, they're actually being put in classrooms with other students, with other children, and they're being taught, right? They're being taught something. And a lot of these kids, when they've come back, their parents have said, hey, it's time to go to school. And the kids are saying, well, I don't need to go to that school because I'm going to another school, right? And then the parents saying, well, what are you talking about? You're going to another school. So these children are telling them at nighttime, their friends are coming to get them, taking them up somewhere into a ship, and they're putting them in a school and teaching them.
Yep.
Right. So there's a guys, believe me, there is a lot of bullshit that is attached to this one particular subject, right? Because like Rob was saying, we've got our peers telling us one thing, we have the government, the one that's been lying to us forever, telling us something totally different. So who am I going to believe? Am I going to believe the peers that I work with, that I, investigate with, that I research with, that I engage with?
They have substantial evidence to back up their claims.
Yeah, who do I believe? Do I believe them, or do I believe someone who's been lying to me ever since I was born? Well, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to believe I'm going to believe Betty and Barney Hill's niece. I'm going to believe Geraldine Oscotco. I'm going to believe Leah Capitelli. I'm going to believe Clarence Mitchell. I'm going to, I could just name them off because there's just fucking so many of them. That's who I'm going to believe. That's where the disclosure and the information is coming from, so that we can progress forward with this investigation that we're all involved with, because that's really is what it is. Right? Yep. And Clarence, like you, and so many of people like yourselves who have been abducted are the frontline soldiers of this. If it weren't for you guys relaying that information back to us, like Travis Walton, for instance, if they weren't giving us this information, we wouldn't know what's going on, and we would still be under that ignorance that there's anal probes happening and there's these sexual things that are happening and blah, 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 right? It's just, I no, man.
Well, the ridicule is real. Believe me.
Yeah, the ridicule.
The anal probe is a psyop. It's a psyop to put people off from what's really happening. They're using these extreme encounters. Well, that's right. Well, they're using these extreme. Maybe something like that did happen, but maybe once, twice. They've used these extreme narratives to just ostracize people, and that's ultimately what they want to do for everybody in one way or another.
Yeah. I don't think it's ever happened. These anal probing kind of things. I don't think it's ever happened. These people have been visiting the planet for, hundreds of thousands of years. There's very clear evidence when we look at the ancient astronaut theory that these visits have been happening for a very, very, very long time. And if they were going to do anything like that, that would have happened like maybe with the first one or two abductees to find out what they were eating. Beyond that, when they want to try to figure out what's going on with us physically, right, what they're doing is that they're going after our animals. They're going after the cattle and the animal mutilations that are happening, and they're taking pieces of them and they're investigating that to find out whether, why is there so much cancer on the planet? Why are these animals sick? How is it that the grain that they're eating? That's right. How is the grain that they're eating affecting them? How is the fresh water that they're drinking after these people have blown up 2,056 nuclear bombs on their planet? How is that affecting the animal kingdom, and how is that going to affect the human being? So they're not after our ass, right?
No. The only people doing anal swabs are the Chinese, to try and figure out if you got the sickness. That's the only place I've ever heard of anal swabs, bro. Really. Like, that's just...
You bend over now. Bend over now.
Easy, Clarence. Easy.
You bend over now.
That's the truth, though. That's the only place that I've heard of people doing anal swabs, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. We're having a good time. It's all jokes, guys. But, it's so disconcerting to let these people take over a narrative that we've been portraying for a very long time with truthful evidence. And now they want to jump into the narrative and totally discredit everything that we've done, putting these people forward and trying to investigate this situation.
Go ahead. Sorry, Rob.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, have we not learned anything from the last year?
That's right.
Look at the narrative.
Couple years. I mean,
Well, the narrative that they've been giving us since Wuhan, it's all coming true now. Everything that we were saying is coming true. And the narrative that they were giving us was, black and white to what we were saying. So have we not learned anything from the previous year? Or have we been, or has our head been so stuck up our ass that we just choose not to listen and choose to remain in that ignorance? For me, I've learned a lesson in the previous year that whatever these people have to say, I don't care if it's Tucker Carlson, Lou Dobbs, Peter Mansbridge, or whoever the hell it is that's, the anchor people for these guys, none of them, zero, can be believed, especially after what we've seen in the past year.
That's right.
Their credibility is totally gone. So when they tell me that there is no alien connection, what I'm seeing is that there is an alien connection, because they're telling us the opposite.
Exactly.
Right? If it's a no,
meaning got a clue anyway. Half of them ain't even got a clue. They don't even know what a UFO even looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have no idea. I mean, if they really want to do some research, take your news cameras, go outside and start looking up in the air every night. You know,
that's all it
follow
takes.
what NASA is doing. Follow what these other people are doing, and get involved. But they won't do that. See, they want to keep it all political.
Speaking of cameras, my kids' friends a couple of weeks ago, or last week and a half ago, something like that, they were out in their backyard, and they started freaking out. They were like literally swearing and yelling and screaming because there was a UFO that was flying around. They grabbed the camera and they started to record. And when they were recording, you could totally feel the emotion from their voice coming out, that they were having a genuine experience of a UFO. Right. So if you can get a bunch of kids, like literally 17, 18-year-old kids that can go out in the backyard with their cell phone and record a UFO, you're trying to tell me $1 billion jet can't do that? $1 trillion government can't do that? They just give us grainy images. No, man. No way. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
What about satellite imaging? We could pinpoint a grain of sand in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Exactly.
You mean to tell me that a satellite can't follow a UAP or a UFO?
I'm not ever going to call them UAPs. I'm sorry, man. It's always
I referenced as a joke, but no.
Yeah, I know.
But
here's the thing.
It's just wild that they're not using the regular technologies that we use on a daily basis to figure out everything else to find out exactly what's happening. It's because
look
they
at
don't want
look at the film footage we're getting from the ISS, though, on occasion. That's showing these mysterious objects flying across, and stuff. Where is that stuff coming from? Somebody's leaking that to somebody, and we're seeing that.
I got a video on my YouTube channel that shows a UFO in our orbit that's about half the size of the moon. It's on my channel, Watchers Talk. Go into the video, scroll down maybe a year or two, and you go down and you'll see that video. I slow it down, I back it up, and then I show it again, and then I got texted and I said, did you see that? And you can clearly see the moon behind there, and then you have this other object that comes in. It shows the light, and then the light disappears again. And this thing is huge. It's huge, man. You have to be blind.
I always go back to the one where they fired a missile at it. Remember?
Back in LA?
The UFO was coming across, and they shot a missile, and it took off. The UFO shot back the other way, and the missile got fired off at it from the ground.
Yeah.
That came from the International Space Station.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left, so I want each of you to go into what you guys have coming up next, what we're doing. I've already got our website down here, projectionofview.com. Let them know what it's all about. And Omar, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for this conversation, Rob. It was very stimulating, and I enjoyed it. Had a good laugh, and discussed some serious things as well. But it's always nice to involve a little bit of humor into something serious like this. And second, thanks, Clarence, for really putting this idea into our head and making this happen. And then third, projectionofview.com. That is our events website where we're going to be placing all our events that are coming up. The site is up right now, but it's still in the process of uploading, and a lot of information is going on there. So with that, I have an event coming up on June 20th, 21st called Seed. Show empathy every day. We're featuring 16 speakers. They're all lecturers. They're going to come on for an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. They're going to deliver a lecture on plant medicine or on animal communication. We'll take questions from the audience for 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next one. And then, of course, on July 11th, we have actually, I'll let Rob do that one. And then we have another announcement to make for another event that's coming up. Probably in about a week, we'll make that announcement. If you guys want to stay up to date with our events, just go to projectionofview.com, and you'll get all the information and all the links to the speakers and to the tickets and stuff that the event that interests you. And of course, check out my channel, Watchers Talk, and give it a subscribe and a like, and help share the truth, because everyone deserves to know the truth.
That's right. That's right. And guys, we have worked extremely hard on the Seed event and the July 11th event. Please go to, I have it in the top of it's pinned to the top of the comments in both YouTube and Facebook. Get your tickets now. Sign up. They're free tickets. It's going to be an incredible event, but this is just a prelude to what we have coming up later on in the next couple of events that we're doing and the announcements that we have. But so please get on board now because we're going to blow everybody out of the water. But go ahead, Clarence.
Basically, I am going back to Blog Talk Radio. So if you'd like to listen in on that radio cast, just go to Blog Talk and look for Closer Encounters. You'll find me there. And don't forget to subscribe or whatever. It's all absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. And of course, I will be going live stream at the same time on YouTube, and that's Closer Encounters on YouTube. And I do have a page on Facebook, Closer Encounters Radio, but I am not on Facebook at this present time. Don't know if I'm ever going to make it back there. We'll just have to wait and see. But very shortly, and we'll be making some new announcements and stuff here within the next few days, and we'll be back up.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see you get back at it. That's the godfather of podcasting. He's been doing it forever. And we have much respect and much love. But again, guys, June 20th and June 21st, it is Watchers Talk 7th anniversary in conjunction with a projection of you, or is what the website is called. So at projectionofview.com, you'll be able to find out all of the speakers and get your information on the speakers. It is also, like I said, the seed event is something that me and Omar have worked rigorously hard to put together for the 7th anniversary. It is going to be absolutely epic. Please go and look at the top of the comments, the pinned message, click on it, sign up, get your free tickets. I mean, this stuff's going to blow your mind. We're trying to help you to help yourself on a daily basis with basically what you put into your body, what you do to your body, and how to affect those around you. So also the animal kingdom and the earth itself. And on July 11th, we have Full Spectrum Universe first year anniversary. It is Watchers Talk again and Full Spectrum. We are doing it all. Every event we do is me and Omar really breaking it down, really putting it together. And that's going to be another epic event. It's got 8 speakers, and it's going to be 8 presentations, about an hour long. We're going to have a lot of big names that are still yet to be announced. But so far, we have Neil Gar from Portal to Ascension. We have Watchers Talk with Omar. We also, Clarence is definitely going to be there with us as well. We have Geraldine Araska that we've mentioned. And we also have a couple of names that's going to come out next week. We have Aggie Nost as well. He's going to be doing a presentation. And there are still 4 more presenters that we have yet to unveil. They will be revealed in the weeks to come leading up to the event. So please go, and we're going to be setting up a place for you to get tickets, just like we're doing for Seed. So you'll be able to reserve your space before they all sell out. Please do that for Seed as well. Make sure you reserve your space before all the spots sell out. And this is what we do. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for joining me tonight. I always love talking to you guys, Omar and Clarence. You guys are amazing. We always have such great talks. It's just a conversation. We don't even, we touch on things. We keep going. We go to different spots. It's a round robin. It's truly like a panel discussion. I love it. And thanks to all the audience out there who followed along, everybody on YouTube and Facebook. You guys are keeping me doing this, keeping me strong in my efforts to make sure that we disclose the truth for the people, by the people. And this is Full Spectrum Universe. And we're thank you all for coming by, and we're out of here.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Be safe out there.